the phone code Betrayal. My name is Madison, and I learned the hard way that sometimes the smallest moments can reveal the biggest lies. It was a Tuesday afternoon in October, and I was sitting in my boyfriend Tyler's living room in his apartment in Austin, Texas, when his mother called with what seemed like the most innocent request. "Tyler, honey, I need you to check something on your banking app," she said over speakerphone. "There's a charge I don't recognize on the credit card we share for emergencies." Tyler was in the kitchen making us sandwiches for lunch, so he called back to me. "Babe, can you grab my phone? The passcode is 8742. 8742. I picked up his iPhone from the coffee table, entered the code, and opened his banking app. "What am I looking for?" I called to him. "A charge from last weekend, probably around $60. I found the charge. It was from a restaurant downtown that we'd gone to for dinner Saturday night. Nothing suspicious about it. I told him what I saw. He explained it to his mother, and that was that. Such a normal, forgettable moment. Tyler trusted me enough to give me his phone passcode without thinking twice. His mother needed help with something technological. I was happy to help. But that 4-digit number, 8742, would haunt me for weeks. Let me back up and tell you about Tyler and me. We'd been dating for almost 2 years, and I thought we were building something real together. Tyler was 28, worked as a marketing coordinator for a tech startup downtown, had his own apartment, seemed to have his life together. I was 25, working as a graphic designer at a small agency, and ready for something serious. Tyler was charming, funny, and incredibly good-looking. 6 feet tall with sandy brown hair and blue eyes that made me weak in the knees when he smiled at me. He was the type of guy who remembered little things, how I liked my coffee, what shows I was watching, which restaurants I wanted to try. We met at a mutual friend's house party in East Austin. I'd been single for about 6 months after a messy breakup with my college boyfriend, and I wasn't really looking for anything serious. But Tyler had this way of making me feel like I was the only person in the room when he talked to me. "You're the most beautiful woman here," he said that first night, and somehow it didn't sound like a cheesy pickup line. We talked for hours at that party, sitting on the back porch while everyone else was inside getting drunk. He told me about growing up in a small town outside Houston, about his plans to start his own marketing company someday, about his close relationship with his family. I told him about my art, my dreams of maybe freelancing full-time eventually, my complicated relationship with my divorced parents. "I'd love to take you to dinner sometime," he said as the party was winding down, "somewhere we can actually hear each other talk." Our first official date was at a cozy Italian place in South Austin. Tyler was a perfect gentleman, opened doors for me, asked thoughtful questions about my work, insisted on paying even though I offered to split the check. He walked me to my car afterward and kissed me goodnight, soft and sweet, like he'd been thinking about it all evening. "I had an amazing time tonight," he said. "When can I see you again?" We started seeing each other twice a week, then 3 times, then practically every day. Tyler integrated me into his life seamlessly, introduced me to his co-workers, brought me as his date to his cousin's wedding, talked about future plans that included both of us. "I think you're going to love Colorado," he said one evening about 4 months in. As we were looking at vacation photos his friend had posted from a skiing trip. "We should plan a trip there next winter." Next winter, he was thinking that far ahead with me. Tyler's apartment became my second home. I had a drawer in his dresser, a spare toothbrush in his bathroom, my own coffee mug in his kitchen cabinet. He gave me a key after about 8 months, saying he loved coming home to find me there already. "It feels right," he said, wrapping his arms around me from behind as I cooked dinner in his kitchen. "Like this is how it's supposed to be." I felt the same way. For the first time since college, I could picture a real future with someone. Tyler and I talked about moving in together officially, maybe getting engaged in a year or two. We looked at apartments together, debated neighborhoods, discussed what kind of wedding we'd want someday. My friends loved him. "He's a keeper," my best friend Sarah said after meeting him. "He looks at you like you hung the moon." My mother, who had been skeptical of every guy I'd dated since high school, actually approved. "He seems stable," she said after Tyler came to a family dinner. "Respectful, like he really cares about you." Everything seemed perfect, too perfect maybe. The first tiny crack in that perfection came about 6 months before the phone passcode incident. Tyler started getting text messages at odd hours, late at night when we were watching movies, early in the morning before he was fully awake, during a dinner at restaurants. "Who keeps texting you?" I asked one evening after his phone buzzed for the 4th time during our meal. "Just work stuff," he said, glancing at the screen and immediately putting the phone face down on the table. "You know how it is in tech. Emergencies don't keep business hours." I did know how it was. My graphic design job had its own share of client emergencies and last-minute requests. But something about Tyler's body language when he checked those messages seemed off. Tense, almost guilty. But I pushed the feeling down. I trusted Tyler. We'd built our relationship on honesty and openness. If something was wrong, he would tell me. The second crack came a few weeks later when we were at his company's happy hour event. Tyler had been looking forward to introducing me to his co-workers properly. I'd met a few of them in passing, but this was the first big social event where I'd be there as his official girlfriend. "Madison, right?" said a woman named Jessica who worked in HR. "Tyler talks about you all the time." "All good things, I hope," I said, smiling at Tyler. "Oh, absolutely." Though I have to admit, I was surprised when he said he had a girlfriend. He was on all the dating apps for so long, I thought he was committed to bachelor life. Dating apps? I looked at Tyler, confused. "When was this?" Tyler's face flushed slightly. "Before we met, obviously. Jessica's talking about way back when I first started at the company." "Oh, right," Jessica laughed. "Time flies. Though didn't you just update your Bumble profile, like..." She paused, noticing Tyler's sharp look. "Oh, sorry, I must be thinking of someone else." The conversation moved on, but I couldn't shake Jessica's words. Updated his Bumble profile recently? Tyler and I had been exclusive for over a year. There was no reason he should have been updating any dating profiles. When I brought it up on the drive home, Tyler had an explanation ready. "Jessica's got her timeline mixed up," he said. "You know how it is at office parties. People drink too much and remember things wrong. I deleted all my dating apps when we became official. You know that?" I did know that. Tyler had made a big show of deleting Tinder and Bumble from his phone in front of me after we'd had the exclusivity conversation. It had been sweet, romantic even. "Besides," he continued, reaching over to squeeze my hand, "why would I need dating apps when I have the perfect woman right here?" His explanation made sense. Jessica had been drinking. Events at office parties tended to blend together, and Tyler had never given me any real reason to doubt him. I let it go. But the cracks were starting to form a pattern. Tyler's phone habits changed gradually over the next few months. He started keeping it face down more often. He'd take it to the bathroom with him when he showered. He'd check it constantly, but never seemed to actually respond to anything in front of me. "Everything okay?" I'd ask when I noticed him staring at his screen with a tense expression. "Yeah, just work drama," he'd always say. "Nothing important." The third crack came when we were planning a weekend trip to visit Tyler's family in Houston. His mother had been asking to meet me for months, and Tyler had finally agreed to bring me home for his younger sister's college graduation party. "I'm nervous," I admitted as we were packing. "What if your family doesn't like me?" "Are you kidding?" Tyler said, folding shirts into his suitcase. "They're going to love you. My mom has already planned your entire weekend. She wants to show you around the neighborhood where I grew up, take you to my high school. The whole embarrassing parent tour." But the night before we were supposed to leave, Tyler got a call from his sister. "Hey, Jess," he answered, putting the call on speaker as he continued packing. "We're all set for tomorrow morning." "Actually, that's why I'm calling," his sister said. "Mom wanted me to ask, are you bringing Madison or the other girl?" There was a pause. Tyler went very still. "What other girl?" I asked. "Oh." His sister's voice was flustered. "I'm sorry, I thought... Mom mentioned you were seeing someone else. Never mind, I must have misunderstood." Tyler quickly took the phone off speaker. "Jess, let me call you back in a few minutes." After he hung up, I stared at him. What was that about? "My sister is confused," Tyler said, not meeting my eyes. "You know how family gossip gets twisted. Someone probably mentioned an old girlfriend and she got the timeline mixed up." "Tyler, your sister specifically said your mom thought you were seeing someone else. Present tense." "Madison, come on. You know my family hasn't met you yet, so they don't really know what's going on in my life. My mom probably just assumed I was still playing the field, because it took me so long to bring you home." It was a reasonable explanation, but combined with Jessica's comment about the dating apps and Tyler's increasingly secretive phone behavior, I was starting to feel like something wasn't adding up. We went on the Houston trip anyway, and Tyler's family was lovely to me. His mother showed me photo albums. His father grilled burgers and told embarrassing stories about Tyler's childhood. His sister apologized for the confusion on the phone call. "I'm so glad Tyler found you," his mother said as we were helping with dishes after dinner. "He seems happier than he's been in years." And he did seem happy. Relaxed, affectionate, proud to introduce me to everyone. Whatever doubts I'd been having felt silly in the face of how normal and loving everything felt. But on the drive back to Austin, Tyler's phone started buzzing with text messages again. And this time, I noticed that he didn't just put it face down, he actually turned it completely off. "Battery dying," he explained when he saw me notice. But I could see the battery indicator on his screen before he turned it off. It was at 78%. That brings us back to that Tuesday afternoon in October when Tyler's mother asked him to check his banking app, and he casually gave me his phone passcode, 8742. For about 3 weeks after that, the passcode just sat in the back of my mind like a loaded gun I was afraid to pick up. I trusted Tyler. We'd been together for almost 2 years. We were talking about a future together. Looking at his phone without his permission would be a violation of that trust, but the doubts kept growing. Tyler started working late more often, coming home after 10 p.m. with stories about big projects and demanding clients. His phone was always face down now, and he'd gotten into the habit of checking it in the other room when it buzzed. "Is everything okay at work?" I asked one evening when he seemed particularly stressed. "Just the usual corporate nonsense," he said. "Nothing you need to worry about." But I was worrying. not just about work stress, but about the growing distance between us. Tyler seemed distracted when we were together, like part of his mind was always elsewhere. Our conversations felt surface level. Even our physical intimacy was becoming less frequent and more mechanical. Maybe we should plan another vacation, I suggested one weekend. Get away from work stress, spend some quality time together. Yeah, maybe, Tyler said, without looking up from his laptop. Let me see how this project goes. The project? There was always a project now. The breaking point came on a Friday evening in early November. Tyler and I had plans to go to dinner and a movie, something we hadn't done in weeks. I was looking forward to it, a chance to reconnect, to feel like a couple again instead of roommates who occasionally slept together. But at the last minute, Tyler got a text message that made him frown. "Babe, I'm so sorry, but I need to cancel tonight," he said. "Crisis at work. I need to go in and fix something with the server." On Friday night? I know, it sucks. But if we don't fix this tonight, the whole system could crash over the weekend and we'd lose a major client. I was disappointed, but I understood. Work emergencies happened. Okay. How long do you think you'll be? Probably pretty late. Don't wait up for me. Tyler gathered his laptop and keys, kissed me goodbye, and left me alone in his apartment on what was supposed to be our date night. I ordered Thai food, opened a bottle of wine, and settled in to watch Netflix by myself. It wasn't how I'd planned to spend my Friday evening, but I could make the best of it. Around 9 p.m., I decided to text Tyler to see how the work crisis was going. But when I went to grab my phone from my purse, I realized I'd left it in my car. Tyler's phone was sitting on the kitchen counter where he'd left his charger. I stared at that phone for a long time. Tyler trusted me enough to give me his passcode 3 weeks ago. If our relationship was as solid as I thought it was, there should be nothing on his phone that would hurt me to see. But if I was wrong, I picked up the phone and entered 8742. It unlocked immediately. My hands were shaking as I opened his text messages. The first conversation at the top was labeled Babe, with a contact photo of a brunette woman I'd never seen before. The most recent message, sent 20 minutes ago. "Can't wait to see you tonight. I missed you so much this week." Tyler's response, "On my way now. Told Madison I had to work late." My world tilted sideways. With trembling fingers, I scrolled up through their conversation. Messages going back months. Sexy photos. I love you texts. Discussions about meeting up for dates. Complaints about having to be secretive. Her name was Ashley. From the context of their messages, they'd been seeing each other for at least 6 months. But it got worse. I opened Tyler's other message threads and found conversations with 3 other women. Flirty texts, plans to meet up, explicit photos, all while he was with me. One conversation was with someone named Dinner Tomorrow, who had sent Tyler photos that made my stomach turn. Their messages were from just 2 days ago, while Tyler and I were having breakfast together in the very kitchen where I was now standing. Another conversation was with Coffee Girl, who Tyler had apparently been meeting for what he called study sessions. But the messages made it clear these weren't for studying anything academic. The worst conversation was with someone saved as Gym Buddy, who had sent Tyler a message 3 hours ago. "Your girlfriend seems sweet from her Instagram. Does she know about us?" Tyler's response, "What she doesn't know won't hurt her, and what we have is completely separate from that." I sat down hard on Tyler's couch, his phone still in my hands, scrolling through months and months of evidence that the man I'd been planning a future with had been living a completely double life. But I wasn't done discovering the extent of his betrayal. I opened his Photos app and found albums I'd never seen before. Hundreds of photos of Tyler with other women, at restaurants I'd never been to, at events I'd never attended, in beds that weren't his or mine. Some of the photos were recent, from times when Tyler had told me he was working late or hanging out with his guy friends. In one photo, taken just last weekend, Tyler had his arm around a redhead at what looked like a nice restaurant downtown. The timestamp showed it was taken on Saturday night. The same Saturday night, Tyler told me he was too tired to go out and wanted to stay in and order pizza. I found his dating apps, Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, even some apps I'd never heard of, all still active, all with recent activity. His Bumble profile had been updated just 2 days ago with new photos, including one I'd taken of him at a coffee shop last month. The profile said he was looking for something real and tired of games. It said he was single. In his email, I found confirmations for dinner reservations, hotel bookings, flower deliveries, all for other women. The most recent hotel booking was for tonight, downtown, in the name of Tyler and Ashley. My Tyler, who was supposedly at work fixing a server crisis, had actually booked a hotel room to spend the night with another woman. I sat there for probably an hour, going through every app, every message, every photo, every email. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. Tyler wasn't just casually dating other people. He was maintaining serious relationships with multiple women, all while living with me and planning a future with me. One message thread with Ashley showed them discussing moving in together. Another conversation with someone named Brittany included discussions about meeting her parents over Thanksgiving. Tyler was living at least 4 different lives, and I was just one of them. The front door opened around 11 p.m. "Hey, babe," Tyler called out as he came in. "Sorry that took so long. The server situation was a nightmare, but we got it fixed." I was sitting on his couch in the dark, his phone in my lap. "How was your night?" he asked, turning on the living room light. When he saw me sitting there with his phone, he froze. "Interesting," I said quietly. I learned a lot. Tyler's face went through a series of expressions: confusion, realization, panic, and then something that looked almost like relief. "Madison, I can explain." "Can you?" "Because I'd love to hear you explain Ashley and Brittany and Coffee Girl and Gym Buddy and the hotel reservation for tonight and the dating profiles you've been updating while living with me." Tyler sat down across from me, running his hands through his hair. For a moment, he looked like he might try to deny everything or come up with some elaborate explanation. Then he sighed. "How long have you known the passcode?" he asked. 3 weeks. "And you waited this long to check?" "I trusted you." Tyler nodded slowly. "I know you did, and I'm sorry." "Which part are you sorry for? Being with other women, or getting caught?" "Both, honestly." At least he wasn't trying to lie anymore. "How long has this been going on?" I asked. "Madison, how long?" "Since about 6 months after we started dating." 1.5 years. He'd been cheating on me for 1.5 years. "Why?" The question came out as barely a whisper. Tyler was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was matter-of-fact, almost clinical. "I love you," he said. "I really do. But I also love variety. I love the excitement of meeting someone new, the thrill of a first kiss, the challenge of winning someone over. I love feeling desired by different people. So why didn't you just stay single?" "Because I also love what we have. The stability, the comfort, the partnership. Coming home to you, building a life together, having someone who really knows me. But you don't want just that. No, he said simply. I don't. I stared at this man I'd been in love with for almost 2 years and realized I'd never really known him at all. Did any of it mean anything to you? I asked. Our relationship, our plans, the things you said about loving me? All of it meant something. That's what made it so complicated. Complicated? Tyler, you've been living with me while dating other women. You've been making plans for our future while planning vacations with other people. You've been telling me you love me while telling other women the same thing. That's not complicated. That's sociopathic. That's not fair. What's not fair is what you've been doing to me, and to Ashley, and to all the other women who think they're in real relationships with you. Tyler stood up and started pacing. Look, I never meant for it to go on this long. It just happened. And once it started, I didn't know how to stop without losing everything. So you thought you'd just keep lying to everyone forever? I thought maybe eventually I'd figure it out. Choose one person and let the others go. And who were you going to choose? Tyler looked at me for a long moment. I don't know. That hurt worse than everything else. After 2 years together, after all our plans and promises, he didn't even know if he would have chosen me. I need you to leave, I said. Madison, please, we can work through this. Work through what? Your inability to be faithful to anyone? Your pathological need to lie? Your complete lack of respect for women in general? I can change. I can go to therapy. Figure out why I do this. Maybe you can. But you'll do it without me. I stood up and walked to Tyler's bedroom, where I started gathering my belongings. Tyler followed me, still trying to convince me to stay and work things out. 2 years, Madison. We can't just throw away 2 years. You threw away 2 years, I said, shoving my clothes into my overnight bag. I was building a relationship. You were running a con game. It wasn't a con game. My feelings for you are real. Your feelings for everyone are real. That's the problem. It took me about 20 minutes to gather everything I'd accumulated at Tyler's apartment over the course of our relationship. When I was done, I left his key on the kitchen counter and walked toward the door. What about Ashley? I asked as I reached for the door handle. Are you going to tell her about me, or are you going to keep lying to her too? Tyler didn't answer. What about the others? Are you going to come clean with all of them? Or are you just going to replace me with someone new and keep the rotation going? I don't know, he said quietly. Well, you better figure it out, because I'm done being part of your collection. I left Tyler's apartment that night and never went back. The next morning, I did something that felt both petty and necessary. I found Ashley on Instagram and sent her a message with screenshots of Tyler's conversations with the other women. I thought you should know, I wrote. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but Tyler has been lying to both of us. Ashley responded within an hour. She'd had similar suspicions, but had convinced herself she was being paranoid. She thanked me for telling her the truth. Over the next few days, Ashley and I compared notes and realized just how elaborate Tyler's deception had been. He'd been telling each of us different stories about his schedule, his work, his availability. He'd been using work emergencies to cover dates with other people, using family obligations to explain why he couldn't see us on certain nights. The scary thing is how good he was at it, Ashley told me when we met for coffee a week later. I never would have figured it out if you hadn't found those messages. I almost didn't look, I admitted. I trusted him completely. We all did. That's how guys like Tyler operate. They find women who trust easily and take advantage of that trust. Ashley had also broken up with Tyler. She'd confronted him the morning after I left, and he'd tried to convince her that I was lying, that I was a jealous ex-girlfriend trying to sabotage his new relationship. But the screenshots don't lie, Ashley said, and when I started asking questions, his whole story fell apart. We decided to warn the other women whose contact information we could find in Tyler's phone. Most of them thanked us. A few got angry, accusing us of trying to sabotage their relationships. One woman told us she already knew Tyler was seeing other people and didn't care as long as he was honest with her about it. To each their own, I guess, Ashley said, but I want to be someone's only choice, not just one of their options. That's how I felt too. Tyler tried to contact me several times over the following weeks. Phone calls, text messages, emails, even showing up at my workplace once. He alternated between apologizing and trying to justify his behavior, between begging me to take him back and accusing me of overreacting. People aren't meant to be monogamous, he said in one voicemail. It's an outdated social construct. What we had was real, even if it wasn't exclusive. I can't believe you're throwing away the best relationship either of us has ever had over something so meaningless, he said in another message. But it wasn't meaningless to me. Trust was the foundation of everything I wanted in a relationship, and Tyler had obliterated that trust not just once or twice, but systematically over the course of a year and a half. The hardest part wasn't losing Tyler. It was realizing that the Tyler I'd fallen in love with had never really existed. The man who brought me flowers, who talked about our future together, who introduced me to his family, who gave me a key to his apartment. That man had been a performance, a character he played when he was with me. The real Tyler was someone who saw relationships as a game, who collected women like trophies, who could compartmentalize his life so thoroughly that he could tell multiple women he loved them and mean it every time. It took me months of therapy to understand that what Tyler had done to me wasn't just cheating. It was a form of emotional abuse. He'd systematically lied to me about the fundamental nature of our relationship while making me feel like I was the center of his world. He'd stolen 2 years of my life that I'd spent building something I thought was real, with someone who was incapable of the kind of commitment I was offering. You trusted someone who wasn't trustworthy, my therapist explained. That doesn't make you naive or stupid. It makes you human. A year later, I'm in a much better place. I've learned to trust my instincts again, to pay attention to red flags instead of explaining them away, to understand the difference between privacy and secrecy in relationships. I'm dating someone new now, someone who gave me his phone passcode on our third date and encourages me to use his phone whenever I need to, someone whose story never changes, whose friends and family all know about me, whose social media reflects the relationship we're actually having. I don't have anything to hide, he told me early in our relationship. And I never want you to wonder if I'm being honest with you. It's a different kind of love than what I thought I had with Tyler. Less dramatic, maybe, but infinitely more real. As for Tyler, I heard through mutual friends that he's still dating multiple women simultaneously. Some of them know about each other now, some don't. He's created a sort of informal, polyamorous situation, though apparently he's still not completely honest with any of them about the full extent of his other relationships. Some people never learn, Ashley said when we last talked. They just get better at hiding. Maybe Tyler will eventually figure out what he really wants and find a way to get it honestly. Or maybe he'll spend his whole life juggling multiple half-truths, never experiencing the depth and security of complete trust with another person. Either way, it's not my problem anymore. Sometimes I think about that Tuesday afternoon when Tyler's mother called and he casually gave me his phone passcode. If I'd looked at his phone that day instead of waiting 3 weeks, would it have hurt less? Would I have saved myself months of living a lie? But then I remember that Tyler's phone was just the evidence. The lie itself had been going on for over a year before I discovered it. The betrayal was complete long before I had proof of it. The phone passcode didn't create the problem. It just revealed a problem that already existed. And in the end, I'm grateful I found out. Living a lie, even a comfortable one, is no way to live. The truth hurt, but it also set me free to find something real. Some secrets are too big to keep hidden forever. 8742 was just 4 numbers, but they unlocked the truth about who Tyler really was and who I deserved to be with.